Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Belle again. So today, we're going to talk about the debt ceiling, your questions, and understanding why it doesn't matter. In a recent video, I mentioned that the debt ceiling was a financial fiction created by Congress, and that it doesn't really do what people think it does. It's not actually an imposed credit limit on the U.S., as many believe. Debt ceiling dogma is incredibly ingrained in people, and it led to a bunch of interesting comments and questions. Not all of them were polite. This is one of the nicer ones. You're an ignorant shill. You've said there needs to be cuts to the U.S. budget and have actually given good advice to people about how to look for cuts. It's clear you think we spend too much. So, how much did they pay you to say we don't need a debt ceiling? It's the only thing I can think of, unless you can explain how you can want to cut the debt and simultaneously not support the debt ceiling to limit the growth of the debt. I'm very disappointed. First, I have to ask, who is they? Congress? I am so confused over who you think would pay to have somebody say the debt ceiling doesn't matter. Now, as far as your requested explanation, I don't support the debt ceiling as a method of limiting the national debt. For the same reason, I don't support listening to Beatles albums backward while standing on one foot as a method of limiting illiteracy. It doesn't work, and there's no real evidence to suggest that it would. The U.S. debt ceiling was created by the Second Liberty Bond Act in 1917. Look at a chart of our national debt. Do you feel like the debt ceiling has been successful in limiting the growth of the debt? If it had been successful, we wouldn't be having this conversation, right? The reason it hasn't been successful is because it's not a limit and it's not a ceiling. It's not imposed by some outside force. It's something created by Congress. Congress is the entity with the power of the purse. They create the spending levels. If the entity that controls spending also controls the limit, then it's not really a limit, is it? They just raise the limit when they want to spend more. If you would like evidence of this, just look at how often it's been raised. If you average it out, it's almost once per year. Not quite, but close enough. Maybe once every 2 years. A big part of that is because it was raised 18 or so times under Reagan alone. So it's obviously not really a limit. It's just unlimited spending with extra steps. So, why do we hear about it so often? Because it makes for good political talking point fodder. It creates drama. A bunch of politicians get to pretend like it's something that matters and actually has an effect on how much they spend. It's good to rile up the base about economics, knowing that most of the base doesn't really have a firm grasp on economics. If you really want to know why I don't see the debt ceiling as anything other than a political tool, look at a graph showing the U.S. debt year by year. The debt ceiling either intentionally allowed that, or it was powerless to stop it. Doesn't matter which, right? It's not a tool to limit the debt. It's a tool to limit the thinking of the public by making them think something is being done to limit debt. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.